Alright, and let's get started with getting finished. Hitting up the timing, dropping in the tweening, and then we're going to be all the good to going. This right here is the part that we wanted this whole exercise to test us on. So we have this section right here, which is going to be exceptionally long. But of course, as always, we need to put all of this on 2s first. Alright, and how does this look if we just play it out? Nice! Now we know we're going to want some looping. And then we will extend these out for each of the ones in between them. Yep, so that's 10 frames for each snore, plus the 2 in between. See how that comes out. Still a little bit fast. There we go, that's what I'm looking for. Wonderful. And then give ourselves a bunch more frames to work with. Wonderful. So I already know that the majority of these frames are going to be made longer, so let me add 6 to this and 6 to this. Alright, and how does that come out? That's a pretty nice start. And now the long one. So if this was 16, then let's make this 30. From the beginning. That's actually fantastic. But fall just being on 2s, I think all of these frames are great. I like the amount of time that this takes. The only thing that I'm a little bit touch and go on are these. I think I know what the problem is here. Some of these are breakdowns and some of these are keyframes, but I have them all at the same length, which should not be the case. So that's a keyframe. This is a breakdown. By definition, that there's another frame going in the same direction. So because this just leads into this frame, but this next frame actually changes the direction, this one's a keyframe, this one's a breakdown. So, okay, because this is halfway, it should have as many frames. Now, here comes something interesting. I mentioned a long time ago when we were talking about drawing on 1s, 2s, and 3s that one would almost never draw on 4s, but considering how much space I have to cover, I know that I'm going to want to at least draw this on 3s. I might even want to draw it on 4s. I'm going to try to avoid 4s because then that's going to feel really choppy. But even drawing this part on 3s is going to be a lot. I mean, this is 33 frames right here, so that's 11 new drawings currently. This one's going to take a hot second. So let's get this party started with drawing this on, let's just do 3s. So what we want to do is we want to set ourselves up for success by doing our timing charts, so that way we have something to keep track of. These are just going to be even halves, getting from this point to this point. And it's going to be the exact same even half. I'm just going to make it here and then copy pasted it to here, 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 and here. So that part will be relatively quick. Here's where things start to get tricky. So when doing even halves, it's actually better to have an odd number of frames, because odd numbers divide really nicely with having a frame right in the middle and then having an even number of frames on either side. So if we do this section here on 2s, which covers from frame 109 to 120, that's 12 frames on 1s, making it 6 frames on 2s. So if I want to make it on 2s and I want to make it an even ease in and ease out, I'd either want to go down to 5 or up to 7. Personally, I want to go down to 5 because it's less work, but, gotta make this the best it can be. No, let's do the best of both worlds. 5 on this first one because he doesn't have enough momentum to carry him very far, and 7 on this one because his head travels a little bit more. Yes. And then here. Well, everything else is on 2s. Honestly, this transition from here to here isn't that complicated. It's just mostly drawing the same pose over and over. So the reason that I would want to do 2s over 3s or 4s is because obviously 2s is going to be less choppy. But that choppiness over this amount of time would only really be noticed if he was covering a really far distance. Like if it was the difference between this frame and this frame, you could definitely notice the choppiness. But I think that between this and this, I'm not going to notice it as much. I'm going to try this part here on 3s. Everything else will be on 2s. For my own sanity. making it 33, which divides really nicely into 11. What do you know? Alright, I'm not going to make a timing chart for these parts. It's arduous, and it accomplishes nothing. I am going to make a timing chart for these parts, though. So this frame here is going to be our curve into this. Alright, so to begin with, we have 106, moving to frame 109, and that falls really nicely on 107. Okay, this is actually what the end point will be. So I'll make a note for myself. This is the end frame that we're moving into from here. Which means I'll have to create this frame first. So that way this one knows what it needs to curve into, and then from here, it'll ease into here, which I don't actually need this to say end. So starting on 110, ending on 117, middling on 113, and each of those, of course, middles again on 111 and 115. Then from here, going to here, 118 to 121, with a simple drop onto 119. This is 5, which starts on 122, ends on 133. Nice middle here, 127. Ah, and then this becomes thirds. Interesting. Not what I planned, but I can make it work. So we have our thirds, which are on 123, 125, 129, and 131. And this one is unlike the last one, nice and simple. 134 to 137, with an even on 135. And similarly so here, 138, 141, and 139. And how nice! Yet another simple one. 142, 145, and 143. And now, of course, our personal favorite. We start the long haul on 146. It ends all the way on 181. Alright, let's divvy this sucker up. And then get rid of that one. So actually, we end on 180 with 11 frames. So it looks like our middle here is 162. And then here on 153, there's a third. And then 147 and 150. I'm going to be those thirds there. And then this is 156 and 159, which comes out to those thirds. Oh, I suppose I could have been doing timing charts on both sides. That way the loops aren't always like condensing on one another, but oh well. Alright, then here on 171, halfway. This is going to be 165 and 168. And this is going to be 174 and 177. And voila! We have our timing. Alright. Oh, wow. Oh, that was my chest. Oh, that was brutal. Alright, let us get this party finished. Alright, let's pull up some onion skins and see if we can't figure out how to make this one work. This will be the last breakdown that we have to make before we can just blindly start twinning. That's not bad. Yeah, it's not bad at all. Oh, no, I do want it to actually be straight. We've got a curve this way, and a curve this way. So this tassel needs to be straight on. And voila! Voila, we have our breakdown! And now, we begin the long haul! Oh, and then you know what? I think I'm going to have the tassels go out a little bit when we're going down, and then go in a little bit when we're going up. Wonderful. And now we need to take this, drop this into the next in-between, and then do the tassels, but this time coming inward, and then we'll copy and paste these each into their respective sections. And then I'll double check to see whether or not the tassels are actually moving too much, because there is that can happen. Alright, there we go. Now, let's bring this in a little bit. Bring it in, everybody. Bring it in. And play through this segment here and see, first of all, if it looks the way that I want it to, and second of all, if it does, do the tassels move too much? Yeah, they definitely move too much here. Alright, let's see if that's a little bit better. Yep, that's good. Alright, let's copy this all over to where it needs to go. Also, while we're at it, let's get rid of these Z... Well, no, I want to keep the Z's. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to drop them on another layer and then have those go independently of the other drawings. Alright, and let's watch that sequence in its entirety. Yeah, I can work with that. Alright, now let's make this one. Ah! That is not what I wanted at all. Whew. Next! You know what I'm just realizing here now? I've been redrawing this body over and over again when it doesn't always actually make any movement. I need to get better at learning of what are the parts of the body that I can copy paste over and then just erase away what needs to be changed. Alright, now either side of it. Well, you know what? Let me try doing that, since I just talked about it. Alright, one less thing I have to draw. Oh, I forgot to take easing into account when doing my timing. Oh. Okay, well that didn't mess up anything. This is the first segment that would take that into account, so that doesn't actually get in the way of anything. I'm just happy that I noticed it. So, this is the one that needs work. I'm pretty sure. So this segment from here, which is the furthest to the stage right, to here, which is the stopping point before the hesitation, is going to be 134 to 145. Okay, so now we have equidistant keyframes, and that means that everything's moving at the same speed. That doesn't create motion! Oh! So how do we fix this? Ah, I know what we do. Let's delete this one, extend this one. That way we've added a frame between these two, which makes it slower, and we've removed the frame between these two, making it faster. Okay, so we want then this to be the middle-most frame because it's when we're going the fastest. So we want to be slowing down on either side of this, and we want to be slowing down at the same rate. So if this is the middle, we go 3.5. So we want 3.5. There it is, there it is, there it is. Great. Alright, now let's redo the timing chart for this. Right, so this middle is 141, and does that still start on 134? It does. Only now, we end at 149, and then we want... Oh, I know what I want to do. So that's going to be half, then 139 should be half of that, 137 is half of that, and 135 is half of that. And the same is true on the other side. There it is. That's what I want. Now let's just make sure that this logic is following on the other side properly. Yeah, there's really nothing to be done about that one. Admittedly, I could have had 115 and 111 favoring, but it's such a small distance no one will ever know or care. For this one, however, I can do this better. There we go. Or actually, I guess if I wanted to make it more professional. Spread it out a bit more. That's what I want. That's what I want. Which now begs the question, was this done properly? I'm just going to go with a resounding no. This is everything being equally spaced. So no. No, this was not done right in the slightest. Okay, so I want this to be an ease in, because we start going slow and then pick up speed. So we start on 150 and end on 184. I think again, actually. That's where we were the first round we did this. But anyways, our middle, let's see. No, we don't want to do it the middle. Because we're just going to do a crap ton of halves all the way across. And we want to start from the back and go forward if we want to be picking up speed. So we want this frame to be halfway between the last one and the first one. And it looks like we will need, to hell with it, I'll just do it horizontally. Oh, you know what I could do here instead? Watch this, this is gonna be whack. Make all those even. Put all the numbers down, and because I know what these arcs mean, what they symbolize, I can just do that for a half. And then I suppose if I wanted it to be less crazy looking. Boom! Now I managed to get them all onto one timeline, and I know because of the way that these bounce, those are where all the halves are. And wow, would you look at the time! I know how long it takes to edit down 2.5 hours, almost 3 hours worth of content. And if I finish this, it'll take me to like probably 4 hours. And that'd be way too long of an episode, because in-betweening takes a lot of time. So, now that we have a real understanding of what our real timing is, we are set to go to hit the ground running on our next episode to finish up all of our tweening and have ourselves a successful and beautiful animation. So, with that, thank you all very much, and I look forward to finishing this up with you next time. Have a fun however long! Wow, I've got to figure out a new system, because making this video in 2 days was exhausting. Admittedly, that's mostly on me, but still, definitely gonna hit the drawing board on that one. So, subscribe if you're curious what this exercise will end up like, and today's honorable mention goes to the ever-inspiring video for Lone Digger by Caravan Palace.